Alright, so today we'll be entering another part of trigonometry, and this other part of trigonometry has to do with trigonometry related to unit circle. So this part is start trigonometry part 2, but so far I broke trigonometry into 5 topics so far, 5 parts so far. So this is our second part officially. Now this aspect has to do with trigonometry involving unit circle. So unit circle. So we are dealing with unit circle. So one core thing you need to know is that a unit circle has a unit radius. So you can have something like this. You have a circle, then you have the middle from here to here, which is the radius. Then you have the broken lines, and you have another line like this. Then you have another line like this. Then you have one which comes from here. Will come from here down to here, down to here. So we have this. Then we also have another one which comes from here. Now, this one you see here is known as the sine graph. This one has to do with the sine curve. The sine curve. So you can call it the sine curve or the sine graph or graph. Now, this part has to do with the sine graph, while the other part which you have there, has to do with the cosine. This part you see here now has to do with the sine graph, while the second part has to do with the cosine graph. Has to do with the cosine graph. So we have two graphs. We have the sine graph, we have the cosine graph, and we have the tangent. We have the tangent graph. So we have the sine, we have the cosine, we have the tangent. Cosine graph. So we are going to take it bit by bit. We have the sine, cosine, and the tangent graph. So this is the first thing you need to take note of. This is the sine graph, and this other one has to do with the cosine graph. Now, if you have a calculator there, we can do some experiments together. This experiment will be very helpful to you. So the experiment which we are going to work on now can be broken down into some parts. The first part has to do with, yes, you have something like this now. Let's say this is our line. I will take it from here to here, down to here, down to here. So in this part we have 0. Now, the first part you have to take note of is sine 0 is 0. Sine 0 is what? 0. Sine 90. So we'll take it like this. This is 1, this is 0, and this is minus 1. So we start. Sine 0 degree is 0. Sine 90 degree is 1. If you go and check your calculator, sine 0 is 0, 0. Sine 90 is 1. Sine 180 is 0, 0. So we start from 0, goes to 1, goes to 0, goes to minus 1. Sine 270. Go to your calculator and check. Sine 270 is going to give you minus 1. Sine 360 will give you 0. Sine 360 will give you 0. Sine 450, still come and check 450. 450 is going to give you 1. So sine 450 will give you 0. So take note, sine 0 is 0, sine 90 is 1, sine 180 is 0, sine 270 is minus 1, sine 360 is 0, sine 450 is 1. So take note of this point. Then another part which we are going to deal with now, we already did special angles for the other aspect when we said sine 30. We said sine 30. If you can remember, sine 30 is 1 over 2. Sine 30 is 1 over 2 cos sine 60. If sine 30 is 1 over 2, we have sine 60. Sine 60, which is root 3 over 2. We have sine 30, which is 1 over 2. Sine 60, which is root 3 over 2. We have cos 30, which is root 3 over 2. Then we have cos 60, which is 1 over 2. So like I said, we have sine 30, which is 1 over 2. Sine 60, which is root 3 over 2. Cos 30, which is what? Root 3 over 2. cos 60, which is 1 over 2. Then we said sine 0 is 0, sine 90 is 1, sine 180 is 0, sine 270 is minus 1, sine 360 is 0, sine 450 is 1. So also we can find the cosine of angles. So this has to do with the sine rule, sine of angles. We can also find the cosine of angles in this aspect. The cosine of angles now in this aspect, the cosine will start from here. So we start from here in this aspect. It's going to be like this. So we start from here. So the first part, 1, the cos 0. Cos 0 is 0 is 1. Cos 0 is 1. So take note, cos 0 degree is 1. Cos 90 is 0. Cos 180 is minus 1. Cos 270 is 0. Cos 360 is 1. Cos 0 is 1. Cos 90 is 0. Cos 180 is minus 1. Cos 270 is 0. Cos 360 is 1. Cos 450 is 0. So take note, cos 0 is 1. Cos 90 is 0. Cos 180 is 1 minus 1. Cos 270 is 0. Cos 360 is 1. Then like we said, sine 0 is 0. Sine 90 is 1. Sine 180 0. Sine 270 minus 1. Sine 360. If sine 270 is minus 1, then sine 360 is 0. So take note of all these all these things. Take note of these points. It's going to be very useful to you as we proceed. It's going to be very useful to you as we proceed. I hope this helps. So we are going to continue now. I'm going to continue now because we have some questions which we are going to solve together. So in this particular topic now, this particular part of trigonometry, I'm going to break it down into something you need to know. So in trigonometry, we have 4 quadrants. So we are going to be dealing on quadrants now. We have 4 quadrants. So in trigonometry, we are dealing with 4 quadrants. Now these are the quadrants. We have the quadrant which is broken down into A, C, T, S. The quadrant, we have 4 quadrants in trigonometry. Now the quadrant is broken down into A, C, T, S. I call it the book of arcs. So arcs of mathematics. So A, C, T, S, where A stands for all, where A stands for all, C stands for cosine, T stands for tangent, and S stands for sine. We have all, cosine, tangent, sine. Now the next step is we need to take note of what does all mean, what does all represent. Now this all you see here means that sine, cos, and tan are positive. So this all you see here, it means that sine theta, cos theta, and tan theta are positive. It means that they are all of them, all the angles, the 3 angles which we are going to be focusing our attention on, sine theta, cos theta, and tan theta, all of them are positive. Then in this cosine here represents that cos is what? Positive. I'm not going to say cos theta now because what we have here is going to be different. Then now in this case we have that tan is positive. We have that only tan is positive. That means if cos is positive, sine is negative here. Sine is negative, tan is negative here. That means if tan is positive here, sine is negative, and cos is negative. In this case, sine is positive, cos is negative, and tan is negative. So take note of this point. So we have all, which represents sine, cos, tan are positive. Cosine, which represents cos is positive, sine is negative, tan is negative. And we have the tangent, which represents that tan is positive, cos is negative, and sine is negative. And in the sine, which represents that sine is positive, cos is negative, and tan is negative. Now, under this all, whenever we are working with all, our focus is theta, is on theta. Our focus is on theta. And this quadrant is known as the first quadrant. Now, in this part, this is known as the second quadrant. But our focus is not just on theta. Our focus is on 180 minus theta. That's for the second quadrant. Then for the third quadrant, our focus is on theta minus 180. And this is known as the third quadrant. While this part, the fourth quadrant, where our focus is on 360 minus theta. So our first quadrant, all, we have tan is positive, sine is positive, cos is positive. Our first quadrant. In the second quadrant, sine, which represents that sine is positive, cos is negative, and tan is negative. And our focus is on 180 minus theta. Our third quadrant, which is theta minus 180. In this part, we have that sine is negative, cos is negative, and tan is positive. Then in the fourth quadrant, our focus is on 360 minus theta, in which cos is positive, sine is negative, and tan is negative. So in this aspect, our focus is on cosine. This aspect, our focus is on tangent. Here, our focus is on sine. And here, our focus is on all, which says all the angles are positive. Now, take a snapshot here. Our focus is on ACTS. You see the ACTS, it comes in this direction, but the quadrant comes in this direction. So take note, there are two different things. So don't mix it up that the quadrant comes in this direction, the quadrant comes in this direction, but the ACTS comes in this direction to help us understand it better. Now, we move to another part, which is how to analyze this ACTS. How did we get these values? How did we get all these ACTS values? Now, we are going to go through it together. So the first thing we are going to do now, you observe this is our first quadrant. Now if we're working with the first quadrant, our theta is here, we're working with this, indicates that this is theta. Then this, if this is our y-axis, it indicates that the y-axis is positive. And it indicates that the x-axis is what? Positive. So if we are going to do that, you know that this is our hypotenuse. And if we are going to work with cos theta is going to be adjacent. Anytime we are working with the hypotenuse will be 1 unit. So cos theta adjacent over hypotenuse, which is x over 1, which is what? X. Is x not positive? Yes, x is positive. In this case, sine theta will give us opposite over hypotenuse, y over 1, which is what? Y. That is also positive. Tan theta will give us opposite over adjacent, y over x, and y over x is what? Positive. So all these are what? Positive. So this indicates that we are good to go in the all aspect. When we said all the areas, all the sides are positive. Now, moving on to the second quadrant. We also have the second quadrant. In the second quadrant, what you observe is this is the second quadrant now. Second quadrant, we place our direction here. Now this is 180, this theta. So this place is going to give us 180 minus theta. Remember that angle on a straight line is 180. Then in this case, this is going to give us y, which is plus y, but this x is going to be minus x. Now the second quadrant, remember that it's s we are focusing on. So it's only sine that is positive. Only sine is positive. So sine 180 minus theta will give us opposite y over 1, which is what? Y. But if you check for adjacent and if you check for cos, it will give you negative. If you check for check for tan, it will give you negative in that aspect. Then for the third quadrant, let's check this for the third quadrant now. Let's check this for the third quadrant. So for the third quadrant, let's say this is our third quadrant now. To get here, theta minus 180, because definitely theta is bigger than 180. So we put this and this, and we have that. Then also for this part here, for this fourth quadrant, our to be around here. So we have something like this, where to get it, we are going to subtract 360 from theta, because to get the value of this particular direction. So take note of this point. It will be very helpful to you. Now we have some questions. We have some questions which we are going to solve now. We have the first question: if sine theta equal to cos theta, find sine theta equal to cos theta. Find theta. Find theta between 0 and 360. Now to solve this particular question, it's very simple. What you just do, you write it as sine theta equal to cos theta. Now, like I said in some of the videos I've done before, sine theta over cos theta equal to tan theta. So definitely we are going to divide both sides by cos theta. Let's divide both sides by cos theta. Divide both sides by cos theta. So sine theta over cos theta is tan theta. What's cos theta over cos theta? 1. So if this, we have this, then you go back in time to check what we got for tan 45. Tan 45 degrees, which we got on that special angle, gave us 1. So it therefore implies that theta equal to 45. Theta equal to 45 degrees. Now what we just did, we just got theta. But they said we got theta in the first quadrant. This theta we have here now is in the first quadrant. Now they are asking you, what about theta in the other quadrant? First quadrant. So if we are going to look for theta in the other quadrant, we will come to ACTS now. ACTS. Now coming to ACTS, we have that tan is positive in this place. Tan is positive in this place. And what was the value here? Theta minus 180 degrees. Theta minus 180 degrees. So we already know theta. So what we are going to do now, we're going to just say theta minus 180 degrees equal to 45 degrees. So theta equal to 45 plus 180. And this will give us 225 degrees. And that's how we're able to find theta at 360 degrees. So theta gave us 225 degrees. Theta gave us 225 degrees in the first quadrant. Then in the third quadrant, we have theta to be 225 degrees. So we have the first quadrant and we have the third quadrant. So take note of this point. It's very much important for you. Then we also have some other questions here. We have some other questions here which we can also go through. So we have another question here. So let's check it out and see what we can get out of it. So we have another question here. So a question in which we were told that tan 35, if you find tan 135, find tan 135 degrees. I told you to find tan 135 degrees. What you are going to do now, you first of all observe very well tan 135 degrees. Tan 125 degrees definitely will not be in the first quadrant. So we are going to write A, C, T, S. Now, it's definitely going to be in the second quadrant because it is less than 180. So that means it's definitely going to be in the second quadrant. And the second quadrant, sine is positive. And if sine is positive, tan is what? Negative. So that means we are going to write this as minus tan 180 degrees minus 135 degrees. Minus tan, this is minus tan 180 minus 135 is 45 degrees. So minus, what's tan 45 degrees? Which we did before. Tan 45 degrees is what? 1. So definitely our one side is what? Minus 1. So tan 135 degrees is going to give you minus 1. Because we already know that this is going to be in the second quadrant. The first quadrant, we are dealing with theta. Second quadrant, we are dealing with 180 minus theta. Third quadrant, we are dealing with theta minus 180. And the fourth quadrant, we are dealing with 360 minus theta. So in the first quadrant, theta is less than. You understand? Theta is normal. Theta is okay. But in the second quadrant, theta is already greater than. Let's say greater than 90. In the third quadrant, theta is already greater than 180. And in the fourth quadrant, theta is already greater than about 270. So you have to know how to analyze it. So in such a question, break it down with the second quadrant. Second quadrant, we know we are going to subtract from 180. And we know that tan is negative. So that's why we have to indicate it and bring out the negative sign. And from there, we're able to get our answer to be minus 1. And also we have another question to find cos 60 plus sin 30 over sin 150. So let's check this out. I have cos 60 plus sin 30 over cos 60 plus sin 30 over sin 150. Sin 150. Now in this particular question, what you just need to do, the most important thing now is to break down this sin 150. You have to break down this sin 150. So the first things first is we have our ACTS. Now we know that this sign is in the second quadrant, and in the second quadrant sign is what? Positive. So that means you first of all remember cos 30 is to 3 over 2. Cos 60 is half. So replace it with half. Now sin 30 is half. But this sin 150, let's rearrange this to give us cos 60 degrees plus sin 30 degrees over sin 180 minus 150. And this will give us cos 60 degrees plus sin 30 degrees over sin 30 degrees. So what sin 30 degrees? 1 over 2. So this will give us 1 over 2 plus 1 over 2, 1 over 1 over 2. And this will give us 1 times 2 over 1. And what's 1 times 2 over 1? 2. So our answer to this question is what? 2. Our answer to this is 2. So take note of this particular question. Then we also have another question which we can also check out together. Another question which we can also check out together. So which you can also check out together. So